Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadresha Nityam Bhagavata Sevayat Bhagavate Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमो पङ्कजनाभाय नमो पङ्कजवानाथ नमो पङ्कजवानाथाय नमो पङ्कजवासिने नमो पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रि Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 8, verses 12 to 22. The churning of the milk ocean. Text 12. The great sages performed the bathing ceremony of the goddess of fortune as directed in the authorized scriptures. The Gandharvas chanted all auspicious Vedic mantras, and the professional women dancers very nicely danced and sang authorized songs as prescribed in the Vedas. Text 13. The clouds in personified the clouds in personified form beat various types of drums known as mridangas, panavas, murajas, and anakas. They also blew conch shells and bugles known as gomukas and played flutes and stringed instruments. The combined sounds of these instruments was tumultuous. Text 14. Thereafter, the great elephant from all the direction carried big water jugs full of Ganges water and bathed the goddess of fortune. To the accompaniment of Vedic mantras chanted by land brahmanas, while thus being bathed, the goddess of fortune maintained her original style. With a lotus flower in her hand, and she appeared very beautiful. The goddess of fortune is most chaste, for she does not know anyone but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 15. The ocean, which is the source of all valuable jewels, supplied the upper and lower portions of the yellow silken garment. The predominating deity of the water, Varuna, presented flower garlands surrounded by six-legged bumblebees drunken with honey. Text 16. Vishwakarma, one of the Prajapatis, supplied varieties of decorated ornaments. The goddess of learned Saraswati supplied a necklace. Lord Brahma supplied a lotus flower, and the inhabitants of Nagaloka supplied earrings. Text 17. Thereafter, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, having been properly celebrated with an auspicious ritualistic ceremony, began moving about, holding in her hand a garland of lotus flowers, which were surrounded by the humming bumblebees. Smiling with shyness, her cheeks decorated by her earrings, she looked extremely beautiful. Text 18. Her two breasts, which were symmetrical and nicely situated, were covered with sandalwood pulp and kumkuma powder, and her waist was very thin. And as she walked here and there, her ankle bells jingling softly, she appeared like a creeper of gold. Text 19. While walking along the Gandharvas, Yakshas, Asuras, Siddhas, Charanas, and denizens of heaven, Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, was scrutinizingly examining them, but she could not find anyone naturally endowed with all good qualities. None of them was devoid of faults, and therefore she could not take shelter of any of them. Text 20. The goddess of fortune, examining the assembly, thought in this way: someone has undergone great austerity, has not yet conquered anger. Someone possesses knowledge, but he has not conquered material desires. Someone is very great personality, but he cannot conquer lusty desires. Even a great personality depends on something else. How then can he be the supreme controller? Text 21. Someone may possess full knowledge of religion, but still not be kind of all living entities. In someone, Whether human or demigods, they may be renunciation, but that is not the cause of liberation. Someone may possess great power and yet be unable to check the power of eternal time. Someone else may have renounced attachments to the material world, yet he cannot compare the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, no one is completely free from the influence of the material modes of nature. Text 22. Someone may be longative. Someone may have longevity but not have auspiciousness of good behavior. Someone may have both auspiciousness and good behavior, but the duration of his life is not fixed. Although such demigods as Lord Shiva have eternal life, they have inauspicious habits like living in the crematorium, and even if others are well qualified in all respects, they are not devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Swamini Gopi Mataji. Thank you so much for reading today's Bhagavatam verses. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Pranam, all go Srila Prabhupada. Today we will discuss the topic, chapter 8 of Canto 8, from verse number 12 to verse 22. And before I go ahead with the summary of these verses, I would like to offer humble obeisances to our Guru Parampara. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च प्रभासन्नभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Start the recording. Okay, it is being recorded. So, in the verse, as a continuation, verse number 12 indicates the product that was generated while the Shira Sagar was being churned by demigods and demons. So different products that which came out of Samudra Manthan was indicated to be first. Surabhi cow came out with supervision of Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, who is supervising the whole endeavor of Samudra Manthan. So, under the guidance of Supreme Lord, first Surabhi cow came due to the churning process, and then Uchchaichrava came, and then Airavata, the white elephant, it came out, and then which was Airavata was having four tusks, beautiful, looking like it is exceeding in beauty, more than defies the beauty of even Mount Kailasa. And it was owned by Indradev. 8 male elephants, 8 female elephants came out, which can go in any direction. And then in the 6th verse, it was described Kaustava Mani, Padmaraga Mani was generated, and they decorated the chest of the Lord Vishnu. Parijata flower was came out, and then it fulfilled the desires of everyone, celestial planets, and Apsaras, heavenly damsels, uh, who became heavenly citizens. They also came from the Samudra Manthan. So goddess of fortune also was mentioned to be to actually came out during the Samudra Manthan. She took birth from the Samudra Manthan process to the ocean god, and she was described to be surpassing the beauty of lightning of a marble mountain. That is how bright she is. She surpassed the lightning on the marble mountain, and she is owned by Lord Vishnu, and she is the eternal associate of Lord Vishnu. Now, in the 12th verse, it is described. Now, the after appearance of Lakshmi Devi, it is described that various personalities have started offering gifts to Lakshmi Devi. So, the 12th verse that we're going to discuss today, it is described sages performed Abhisheka, bathing ceremony, and Gandharvas chanted auspicious prayers. Rashayo kalpayam chakru abhishekam yatha vidhi. As per the scriptural injunctions, they performed the abhishekam. Jagrur bhadrani gandharva. The Gandharvas chanted auspicious prayers. Natyascha nanrutur jagru. And, and the professional dancers have sang and danced for Lakshmi Devi. Natyascha nanrutur jagru. The 13th verse describes personified clouds played drums, conch shells, bugles, etc. Megha. And there are different types of instruments that the personified clouds have played. That includes mrudangas, panavas, murajas, anakas, and they also blew conch shells, bugles known as gomukhas, and played flutes and stringed instruments. As all these instruments are sound vibrating with the personified clouds playing them. The combined sound of these instruments simultaneously they were playing. So the combined instrument sound of these instruments was tumultuous, it's described. And great elephants, it was described in 14th verse, have bathed Lakshmi Devi. Tato Abhishishuchur Devim. Devim here indicates the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi. Sriyam Padmakaram Satim. And with a lotus in her hand, Lakshmi Devi, Sriyam Padmakaram Satim, and she is described to be she who is Satim, she who is most chaste, not knowing anyone but Supreme Personality of Godhead. Digibha Purna Kalashai. So the elephants have completely full their water jugs and they started showering, doing Abhisheka. Sukta Vakyaihi Divija Iritaihi. By Brahmanas, while Brahmanas are continuously chanting the Vedic mantras, the bathing ceremony was performed. As the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is described in this verse as Sriyam. That means that she has six opulences: wealth, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So these opulences are received from Lakshmi Devi, goddess of fortune. And in Vaikuntha also, she supplies all opulences to Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. So that's why one may think that she is the source of all opulence. Let me only worship Lakshmi Devi. Some uh, Most of the people who are after these opulences, they tend to only worship Lakshmi Devi without knowing that she will bestow only to the devotees who are also worshipping Lord Vishnu. So in this way, enjoy natural life in Vaikuntha planets. In Vaikuntha planets, she supplies all the necessities. That's why there is no problems, and there is a natural life in Vaikuntha planets. It is described by Prabhupada. So Krishna is automatically pleased with his consort, goddess of fortune, who carries a lotus flower in her hand. As soon as she supplies all opulences to his devotees. So Mother Lakshmi is described in this verse as Sati, as she's she never diverts her attention from Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why. And text 15, ocean god has gifted yellow silken garments. Varuna Dev has gifted flower garlands surrounded by the bees. So when bathing the deity in Abhisheka ceremony with various uh, uh, auspicious liquids such as milk, honey, yogurt, ghee, cow dung, and cow urine, it is customary to supply yellow garments. So this is as per the Vedic principles. In 16th verse, it is described Bhushanani Chitrani Vishwakarma Prajapati. So Vishwakarma and the Prajapati, who is one of the Prajapatis, who is a progenitor uh, of this universe, uh, he gifted varieties of ornaments and Haram Saraswati Padmam. Lord Brahma has gifted lotus flower. Ajo Nagasya Kundale. So Ajo here indicates in the sorry Nagasya Kundale, the earrings were supplied by Nagaloka inhabitants. So Lakshmi Devi then moved about. From this verse, we can understand very peculiar way of what Lakshmi Devi expects from living entities. What is her perception on living entities? We can observe from the 17th verse. And the heart of Lakshmi Devi can also be understood in one of these verses. And Lakshmi Devi moved about from 17th verse. Tata kruta swastya ayanotphalasrajam nanadvirepam parigruhya panina chachala vaktram sukapola kundalam savrida dadhati sushobhanam. Mother Lakshmi was described having uh, with the properly celebrated with auspicious ritualistic ceremony, began moving about. Tata krutaha swasta swasti ayana utpalasrajam. Utpalasrajam, the garland of lotuses, with having performed auspicious ritualistic ceremony, Nadad Dvirebham. It is described that she is being surrounded by her garland is so nectarious, the flowers are still so fresh that it is surrounded by the bumblebees. Virepam, Parigruhya Panina, and she is holding in her hand lotus flower. Chachala Vakram, and she went, and her face, Chachala Vakram, Sukapola Kundalam. Her cheeks were decorated with beautiful shining earrings. Savrida Hasam Dadhati Shobhanam. And she was smiling with shyness. Dadhati Sushobhanam, her natural, because of her natural beauty, she is looking so bright. It is described that Mother Lakshmi accepted the ocean of milk as her father in this Samudra Manthan time. At that time, she accepted ocean of milk as her father. But it is described she is perpetually rests on chest of Lord Narayana, bosom of Narayana, and she offers benedictions even to Lord Brahma. So here Prabhupada is trying to give us the position indicate the position of Lord Lakshmi Devi, uh, 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 goddess Lakshmi Devi. So she offers benediction to even Lord Brahma and other living entities of this material world. And she is transcendental to all material qualities. She appeared to have born out of ocean, and she seemingly resorted to her eternal place on the chest of Narayana. Prabhupada says. 18th verse is mentioned, she appeared like a creeper of gold. So, Mother Lakshmi Devi, and just like how when Lord Krishna appeared in this, when he appeared in Vrindavan, and how even when Lord Vishnu appears in this world, wherever the appearance was described, his form is wonderfully described. How his big, big stout arms, wide chest, right? And his beautiful lotus looking face, all the bodily parts of Lord Vishnu were described to be as beautiful and tender like lotus flower, and they are bright and effulgent. Similarly, Mother Lakshmi, being the eternal consort of Lord Vishnu, she is also described to be so transcendently beautiful in this verse. And it is described that when she was walking, her ankle bells jingling softly, and she appeared like a creeper of gold. So, 19th verse, Lakshmi Devi scrutinizingly started examining all the assembled demigods and demons, everyone there. So, Lakshmi Devi, so she started Vilokayanti Niravadam Atmanaha without, and she's looking for faultless personality. It is mentioned. Vilokayanti Niravajyam Atmanaha Padmam Dhruvam Cha Avyabhichari Sadgunam, whose qualities are eternally the same. The faultless personality, whose qualities are eternally the same and they never change. Avyabhichari Sadgunam Gandharva Siddha Asura Yaksha Charana Traipishta Peya Adishu Na Anva. And it is she observed all these categories of people. She observed Gandharvas, Siddhas, Asuras, Yakshas, Charanas, Traipishtapadishu, who are Traipishtapadis means demigods, universal administrators. And it was described Na Anvavindata could accept, she could not accept any one of them because none of them possess faultless qualities. None of them possess qualities which are uh, transcendental or eternally the same. They were all subject to the more changes of material nature, changes of situation. So their qualities were always fluctuating with the change, with the situation. So she could not accept any of them. And she allowed to select, because she is a son of ocean god who is a king, she could she's allowed, Lakshmi Devi is allowed to select her own husband in Swayamvara ceremony, where she examined every one of the candidates, but she could not find anyone suitably qualified to her shelter. In other words, Narayana is the natural husband of Lakshmi, and Narayana cannot be superseded by anyone in this material world, right? So that is why it is mentioned in many places in Bhagavatam. For example, in 10.44.14, there is a verse that describes Gopya Tapa Kimacharan Yadamushya Rupam Lavanya Saram Asamodham Ananya Siddham. In that verse, it is mentioned Asamordhva. Krishna's form is unparalleled and it cannot be surpassed by anyone of this material world or anywhere else. Asamordhvan, that is mentioned. That's why it is described. And how did he attain such wonderful form? Is it that he applied cosmetics or he did some yoga or some kind of a beauty enhancing things to get that beauty? It is mentioned in that verse, Ananya Siddham, not perfected by any ornament nor any cosmetics. He is self perfect. He needed any other such agents. He eternally is self perfect. So, similarly, because she could not find such qualities in anyone, she could not accept any the uh, those charanas, siddhas, those from any of them, she could not choose her husband. So text 20 is described the wonderful good quality which is accompanied by defect also. She could find some good qualities in the assembled people there. For example, uh, Nunam tapo yasya na manyu nirjayo. She could find that some people were very austere and they have a lot of tapobala. And but the problem with such people is that they immediately get anger. One example stated is Durvasa Muni. He immediately gets angry. Yes, he has done so many austerities in his life, but he immediately gets anger. That is the defect. And it is described some people are with knowledge, immense knowledge, but they are having material attachments. Jnanam kvachit tacha na sanga varjitam. They could not they could not win over the material attachment. Na sanga varjitam. Though they are endowed with jnana. Jnanam kvachit tachana sanga varjitam. But and then there are some great people, but the defect they have out of even though they are so great is uh, that they are suffering with lusty desires. So it is mentioned, Vachin Mahans Tasya Nakama Nirjaya. They could not win over the lusty desires. And the example which was mentioned is Lord Brahma himself. Sa Ishvara Kim Parato Vyapashriya. Some were found to be very great and they have a lot of controllership. They are big lords in this universe. And one among them is Indra. He is a big controller. But the problem with such a controller also is he's depending on others. So Ishvara kim parato vyapashra. He himself is under the control of others. So she could not, Lakshmi Devi could not accept uh, any of them. Here is an attempt to find a supreme controller by Lakshmi Devi. Prabhupada says Ishvara. Everyone may be accepted as an Ishvara, right? But all of them are controlled by others. For example, one may have undergone severe austerity still under the control of anger. So, by this scrutinizing analysis, we find that everyone is controlled by something else. So, that is the lesson here. No one, therefore, can be a true controller but Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, even a biggest millionaire or billionaire in this world is is serving either his wife or a girlfriend or his dog. Everybody is under control of someone. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. But Krishna is mentioned to be Parama Ishvara and he's the supreme controller. He is never controlled by anyone. That is why it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, first 1.1.1. Swarat is described as supremely independent. He's supreme controller. So he is never controlled by anyone. Sarva Karana Karmanam. Because he is the source of everyone. So he cannot be controlled by anyone. So, so good quality that she observes in the next 21st verse is described as some are found to be religious, but they are not friendly to the other jivas, right? Dharma kvachit tatra na bhuta sauhrudam. And Sukracharya is one among, described to be one among such religious persons. They are very religious, very pious looking, but not friendly to the other jivas. So Lakshmi Devi is even looking at our vision when even before she bestows any blessings to us. The vision of us that we should be friendly to all these. Some people were found to be renounced, supremely renounced, but they are not liberated. Like for example, Daksha, he is renounced, but he is not liberated. He he perpetually was put through in the progenation, in giving, in this in the universal um, generation of living entities. He was stuck in the cycle of reproducing, so he could not get liberated from that duty. So Daksha seemed to be very powerful, so he could not be and very renounced, but still because he has a defect of no liberation, he could not be chosen. The other uh, category who were described to be having so much strength, but such great people who have such a uh, great strength were also found to be defeated by the time factor. And nahi uh, viryam na pumso asti ajavega nishkrutam nahi dvitiyo gunasanga varjitah. None of them are freed from the influence of the material modes of nature. Though some of them are found to be super strengthy, but they are not free from the material modes of nature. That is a defect. So that the examples that were quoted here was Shumbha and Nishumbha, who have such a great strength but defeated by time factor. And how does Krishna defeats demonic people who are very strong? It is described Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham. Krishna himself says that he appears as death and takes away a hero's so-called power, who is a demonic. Hiranyakashipu could not be saved when Narsimha appeared before him. And material strength is nothing before the strength of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who comes as a time factor. And also in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.8, Dharmaswanishtita Pumsa Viswaksena Kathasuya Nautpalayeti Didatim Shramayeva hi kevalam. Prabhupada is quoting this verse and saying, one may be very expert in following the religious principles. If he has no tendency to love Supreme Personality of Godhead, his observance of the religious duties is simply waste of time. So one must develop the love for Vasudeva. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. 7.19. The last verse for today is some people were found to be having long life, but no good conduct. The example quoted is Bali Maharaja, enemy of Indra. So, Pachit Chirayur Nahi Sheela Mangalam. Their Sheela, their conduct is not auspicious. Example is Bali Maharaja, who is an enemy of Indra. He has a long life, yes, Chirayu, but still he has that bad conduct. So some were found to be having good conduct, but their lifespan was less. And who is there? Those are human beings. Kvachit tadapi asti navedyam ayusha. And some people were having longevity and also good conduct, but they seemingly appear to be having inauspicious qualities. Yatro bhayam kutra cha ubhayam, yatro ubhayam kutra cha toapi amangalam. And Shiva, Lord Shiva, found to be having, he's seemingly roaming in crematoriums, having all the ashes on his body. So though he has longevity and a good conduct, he could not accept Lord Shiva. So well qualified, some people are found to be very well qualified, but they do not desire Lord Mukunda. Sumangala kasyana kankshate himam. Here, Lakshmi Devi himself saying, I am non-different from Vishnu, indicating the word Mam. Someone who is not inclined to desire Vishnu, Nakankshati Mam, Sumangala Kasya, though they appear to be well qualified, I could not accept them. So we can understand, we will get blessings of Lakshmi Devi, Mother Lakshmi Devi, only if we are desiring to get close to Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. So that is the purport and explanation for today, dear devotees. Thank you so much for your patience. Today we have discussed about the Samudra Manthan episode of 8th canto, 8th chapter. Basically, how scrutinizingly Lakshmi Devi has looked into the qualities of all the assembled people there, and what qualities we must develop in order to get attention of Goddess of Fortune and Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. What endears us to them can also be understood from this episode. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sundaran Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Ram, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.